Hi everybody, Keith here again. Somehow I got booted off, so I'm just making a quick little live here. If anybody's got that video I was just on, please save it and send it to me so I can repost it. I don't think they're going to let me keep the video unless somebody else has saved it. So if you've already, if you were just watching my previous video just a minute ago, I got booted off, and I'm going to go over some information here again real quick in regards to the video I just tried to make. But anybody, hey Andy, we're bringing Andy back on. Finish this up.
Yes,
But
brother.
anybody, hey, sorry about that. I got cut off.
Oh
So
no,
anybody out there
gives me
that's
a
got
chance
that
to,
video,
it gives me a chance to
um,
go and get dressed, brother Keith. I didn't realise I had just my vest on. I legged it out into the other room to come on the video with you, and realised I'm scantily dressed. It gives me a chance to quickly put a t-shirt on.
hey Philip Essen, thank you. Please send that to me if you've got it, because I don't think Facebook will let me post it if it gets cut off. So, but we're going to go over this information real quick again. The Imagination Nation Indoctrination Association relation is that if you're professing to be a national of any country,
I
then you're part of that
love it.
country. Okay? So that means you're related to the
Nation, you're
association
a
that is
ward of the state.
indoctrinated. Say what? Say what, Andy?
A ward of the state. It would make you a ward of the state
Yes.
when you're in that state of indoctrination and the cognitive dissonance, and you're voting
Yes.
Democrat or
And so,
Liberal or whomever you're voting for, you're in a nation state, a state of entrance. The entrance. You go to the shop, you walk through the entrance, the entrance. They're trancing you in to go there, and all
exactly.
the you see, it's all these things that are right in our faces that we don't,
Yeah, they put it right in your
accept
face,
for
don't
their
they?
value. And it's these
Yeah.
words that you're
It's like I
bringing
tried to,
tonight, Keith, is
like I,
beautiful thing.
it's like I tried to explain to people that that are using that term aboriginal. Ab
Oh no,
means
no,
not.
because ab is no, ab is not. If you have um, a test done at the doctor's and it comes back abnormal, it means not normal. So if you're aboriginal, then you're not original. Of course they are the originals. They are the originators, settlers. They are native of
Yep.
that land. That is their settlement. Same as the Indians
Yep.
over here. But hey, what is, and his story has been written by the hand of man, and it has been lied about, that's for sure. That's a part of the
Yep.
indoctrination, though, when you go to school, I'm afraid, when they are schooled. And to be schooled is to be
Yep.
told off, incidentally.
Exactly. And so when you sit there and try to profess that you're part of a nation, and then try to practice common law, you're going to fail.
Yeah.
What you have to
Oh,
realize
I'm
is
a
that common
patriot.
law,
I'm patriotic. I'm a patriot to my country, and I'm a very patriotic man. But when you go to the dictionary and see what patriot is, it's the believer of the fatherland. Now, as far as I'm concerned, I'm dwelt upon Mother Earth, not Father Earth. So if you're a patriot, you are for the father side, not the mother. And this is just those silly things like that that they would trip you into their realm.
yeah. And so when we think about the common law, um, we're seeing common law is worldwide. And so
Mm-hmm.
if you're trying to profess to be a national of some country and following the common law, you're playing two different games. And you can't do that. You can't play two games. You can't serve two masters. You can't play one game with two sets of rules. You have to follow the one
That's
set of
right.
rules for the game that you're playing. And that game that we're playing today under common law is administrative process. Now, the word administration is either you administrate yourself or you allow them to administrate it. And what they're doing in these courts is they're They're running the administrative process, but they're defaulting from the start because they're not providing an affidavit. They're only making statements of facts. Now, to rebut that statement of fact, what we need to do is enter a affidavit with summary judgment rebutting their facts with the true facts that in our capacity as real men, we administrate ourselves.
Absolutely.
You give them
We are the
21 days to
admins of our,
rebut your fact.
yes. It's like when you have these Facebook groups and stuff, you have the admins of the group. They are the administrators of the group. Now, we are all administrators. We all have the capacity to administrate our own affairs. It's if you are compos mentis enough to do this and realize that it needs to be done by your own hand and not by that of another.
Correct, correct. And so when we enter these affidavits, we have to rebut their statements of facts with an affidavit of factual statements, our factual statement. That first affidavit, you're going to give them 21 days, and you're going to put in a schedule of fees in there along with the summary judgment. You give them 21 days, they're not going to rebut it because they can't. They haven't entered an affidavit themselves. Now they either have to enter an affidavit rebutting all of your facts, point by point, each point and every point, or they failed again. Once they do that, now you've got a 21-day jump on the administrative process of default. You enter that exact same judgment or exact same affidavit. This time you're going to include a notice of default and opportunity to cure. You're going to give them 10 days.
Exactly that. That's their opportunity right there to come forth. And if they do have dirty hands, if they haven't put right their wrong, the opportunity to cure is time for them to come forth and have clean hands and offer you a remedy. Although man is making the claim, if you are making the claim, you must have the remedy ready, because he who makes claim has the burden of proof and must provide the remedy. So you must be ready for all scenarios.
Correct. And so now what happens is they're not going to respond again. They are not going to respond because they're not going to, they don't have a remedy.
Well,
they have a remedy for themselves.
They can't rebut your truth, so they can't respond.
Exactly. So now you've given them 31 days, and now you're going to turn around and you're going to file that exact same affidavit the third time, and this time you're going to include a judgment, a notice to file a claim. That's your judgment. Your notice to file a claim is your judgment. So then when they don't respond again in 3 days, now you've given them a total of 34 days, and that's exhausted your administrative remedy. Now you can file your judgment with your claim. And those are the rules of the game. It's the only game out there. It's called common law, and it's done by administrative process. Understand this stuff, people. So when they say you can't serve two masters,
absolutely, we only have one master, and our master is the same as their master. They are oath and sworn to serve that master. They should have the maxims in their pocket. They may well be licensed, but they're certainly not insured there in case they suffer you wrong. It's called indicted. They must have an indictment or anything for the bonds to be secured. So there's many ways, there's many realms of where you can trip these mother truckers over. They're not going to tell you the rules. They're very sneaky and very sly. So what myself and Brother Keith are trying to do and say here is what the rules are. So we can pick this thing up ourselves. We can go and use and implement the rules and hopefully play the game slightly better ourselves. It's like playing soccer or baseball or anything else. You know, you can learn the rules, no problem, but then you've got to learn to play the game physically. You know, it's no good. You can't sit back and hope that this thing is going to play itself out for you. No, 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 no. You have got to step up into that arena and stand on this belief yourself. So, and it's not going to happen overnight. It's not easy. And then, although Keith and myself may make it sound pretty easy through our language because of our comprehension of the rules and what's going on here with the spellings and the way that they are cast towards us, but believe me, it is not that easy, and it won't happen overnight. This is a lifetime thing probably for Keith and for myself, a lot of my belief and my faith has come from the King James. It's a whole way of life that you have to take on here, otherwise these mother truckers will take you down.
Correct. And then the last thing I want to talk about is the research thing. Um, like I said in like I was trying to portray in my last video here just a few minutes ago, towards the end there, my life is getting busy trying to get things sorted out for myself. And so I'm running into this thing where a lot of people have a lot of questions, and a lot of them have the same questions. A lot of them come back,
Me
even though
too.
I've answered, they're coming back with another question because they're confused. You have to do your research. You have to do your own research. I've said many times, I don't want you believing your government, and I don't want you believing me either. I want you to know. I want you to know.
Mm-hmm.
And the best thing about Google, is you can punch in any set of words and come up with something. What you have to do is
Mm-hmm.
be able to discern what words to put in. So when we're confused about a word, like say Aboriginal, we put in Aboriginal and we get up certain things. Well, one of the biggest problems with that is we're not looking at the original intent of the words that are constructed. A word is constructed of various similar words that used to be used. Today,
Elements.
like I said, in
Mm,
Aboriginal, ab is two words, ab and original. Ab means not original.
mm-hmm.
And therefore, when you do your research on individual words, you should really punch in that word along with etymology. And it'll give you a breakdown of
It
that
is
word and what it
etymology.
actually means.
Yeah.
So,
Etymology is the key. It's the origin, it's the substance of the word, it's where its intent derived from, its root substance. And this is what we need here. When you're talking these languages, you need words that are one word, one meaning, one sentence, one meaning, that are not to be assumed or presumed upon. It's quite an art to get down, isn't it, brother?
oh yeah, oh yeah. When you start studying this stuff, one of the first things I learned was the spoken language was first written down by some people called Phoenicians.
Absolutely.
And when
Mm.
they wrote the word
We still
down
speak and
on
write
paper,
phonetically today, don't we, brother? Shorthand, when your secretary does shorthand for the boss, that is phonetically writing. We do texting, that's phonetics. We speak phonetically. When we speak short tongue, that's phonetics right there, right from the Phoenicians, the language right from the day. That's right.
right? And so when they wrote words down, they wrote them down. And remember, the word down itself means to reduce. It's a reduction.
Mhm.
It's something
Mhm.
less than the original intent. So when we think about the word definition, it's actually dephonation.
Mhm.
It's something that is less than phonetic,
Absolutely.
less than
That's what I'm
phonetic.
saying with the shorthand.
Definition.
That's why phonetically speaking and writing, it's all shorthand. It's all compressed down. It's a very short narrative, and I enact that way anyway because it's very simple. It's very layman. It can't be misconstrued. It can't be taken from the context or narrative that it's given in. And once you pick up that way of how to express your language correctly with the correct verbatim, that they cannot waver you, and they know in that instance that you know the rules of the game.
Correct. So think about this stuff, people. Start learning how to do your own research. If somebody throws up a case law up on the thing and you don't know how to find it, all you got to do is tag part of that case law and put it in your Google space. I think Google takes up to 32 letters. So take a
Hmm.
32 letter section out of that, put it into Google, and it should pop it up.
Can I
It should
just,
pop up several sources.
I don't always advocate Google because it can be somewhat constricted. So I use other engines as well. I'll just say that. But there are others out there
Right.
apart
Well,
from
yeah,
Google,
I'm
like
just saying Google, for instance.
DuckDuckGo. Yes, absolutely, brother. But DuckDuckGo and others like that, they will give you much more wider, varied, proper, truthful answers.
Right, and that goes right along with my next comment. You know, a lot of people when they use these search engines, they put something in and they use the first thing that pops up without even looking down the rest of the page. Others will look
Exactly.
down the rest of the page, but then see 17 pages or something like that and not even bother checking out any other pages. You really need to, this shit is deep, so you really have to dig deep. And that's why they
Well, if
call it
you're
going down the rabbit hole.
if, exactly, if you're here to defend yourself, well, then you better do it correctly, and you'd better make sure you've been down that rabbit hole, because if there's information down there that you've missed and may require to defend yourself in this realm, well, you're only going to have yourself to kick in the foot, aren't you? So you only get out that which we
Okay,
put in. Don't expect anything other.
exactly. And Carbon Hero here, he says the Ethiopian, aka Moors, are the indigenous people of America as well as the whole earth. I'm going to rebut that. I'm going to rebut that. 12 tribes of Israel, buddy. Genesis 1,
Absolutely.
26 through 28. Genesis 1, verses 26 through 28, it said that God gave man dominion. He didn't say he gave Americans dominion over the American continent. He didn't say he gave Moors dominion over this part of Ethiopia. He didn't say he
That's
gave
right.
dominion to the Italians over Italy. He gave a dominion over the land, air, and water to man. And dominion is not to dominate, but to steward. And if you're really going to be a
That's right.
steward, we need to get away from this nationality bullshit and come together as brothers. I've had a lot of conversations here
Absolutely.
lately about this Moor stuff, and people see the monikered name that I use on my profile is El Hotep Second Pero. El, in the lowercase sense of God, meaning God within myself. Hotep is peace.
Riel.
Secondly is between the two,
Absolutely.
from when northern Egypt and southern Egypt came together, and that was actually Kemet. Northern part of Kemet and southern part of Kemet came together and became Egypt. That's peace between the two. Pero is temple, which is my body. I now have peace between my God, my spirit, and my body. That's what El Hotep Second Pero means. Now, if you want to start that argument, you go ahead and you keep digging down that rabbit hole. But I assure you, people, if you want to say that you're Moor and that everybody else is not indigenous, you're wrong. You're wrong.
Absolutely, you are.
Think about this. Even in your own
Absolutely.
studies, buddy, your own people believe that the white man were people that came from within yourself. Two colored people can have a lighter skinned baby. It's called a mutation. Two white people, it has been proven impossible to regain something that has already been lost. Two white people cannot have a darker colored baby. Think about this stuff, people. It's all divisionary tactics. All control
Absolutely.
factors to divide us.
Same as religion. It's divide and rule. That's what it is. And that's why you got the
Exactly.
liberals and
We
the
need to get away
Democrats or
from that
whatever else.
stuff.
It's just all divide and rule. That's all it is.
I
Race,
appreciate
creed,
your
colour,
wanting to get down to
sexuality,
your
whatever.
I appreciate you wanting to get down to your indigenous roots, but if you really want to get down to your indigenous roots, and believe you me, you can't deny this either. The Moors believe in the Bible just as much as any other part of the Christian society. So if you really want to get down to your roots, go back to Genesis 1, 26 through 28. And I understand all these Bible pictures that show Adam and Eve as being white is wrong. I understand that. Most people don't. But don't sit there and say that I'm not part of you and